Okinawa and the Philippines Business, OHANA Field Business Concept Proposal. Business Objectives and Guidelines. Why are we doing this business? Dissemination of the latest information and human resource development with a view to reforming the way we work. Promoting cloud computing by utilizing Microsoft 365. Compensating for the shortage of human resources due to the declining birth rate and aging population. Utilization of human resources in Okinawa, the Philippines and BPO business through telework. Measures to prevent GDP from falling from Southeast countries around 2040. Expansion and dissemination of homes based on elderly people living alone and elderly care. Hware. Whom? Okinawa and small companies moving to M365 due to work style reform. Stores and organizations that operate izakayas, stores, cafeterias, restaurants, hotels, and developments in Okinawa. Neighborhoods of resorts and malls that are expected to attract customers in the Philippines. Along the coast in areas inhabited by luminous shellfish. About 2 hours from the airfield, Tagaytay and Bataan, and remote islands. How to? Utilization of know-how with very few Microsoft 365, SharePoint, experts. Utilization of knowledge and human resources network related to the Philippines. What? Support for cloud computing by utilizing the M365 of the former Karasaba system, UI series, DAISY series. Provision and dissemination of Microsoft 365 know-how, BPO business through telework in Okinawa and the Philippines. Provision of excellent human resources in the Philippines, izakaya, restaurant, hotel, development department in Okinawa. Development and provision of nursing care personnel. Development and provision of human resources for Filipinos who have completed nursing care training. Creation of food stall business, compressed rice crackers shop in the Philippines, teppan, yakisoba, etc., octopus yaki, Okinawa soba, and ramen. Noctilucent shellfish collection, accessory processing and export in the waters around the Philippines. Providing a comfortable nursing care environment in the Philippines. Who? Okinawa business creator, IT expert, M365 expert, expert in the Philippines and network officer. Started a business in Naha, Okinawa. Supporting cloud computing by utilizing Microsoft 365. We will support cloud computing by utilizing Microsoft 365, SharePoint, for the UI series with more than 100 customers and the DAISY series deployed by users. Based on this record of cloud conversion, we will support the migration of legacy systems created by VB6 and VB.NET owned by major companies to Microsoft 365, SharePoint. For users who want an app-like screen with a screen system, we will also create it with Power Apps, which is currently attracting attention. By utilizing the Japanese version of e-learning information and customization resources to utilize the knowledge of Microsoft 365 and the information and know-how of user support in the field, we will make the English version of Philippines and Singapore and expand it to global companies in Japan, Philippines, and Singapore. This system migration is an untouched gap field because no one has the know-how of any company, so if it is widely announced, it will be a high-tech know-how that will become a product that will lead to business negotiations. This is a prerequisite for starting a business in the Philippines, and it is a project that is also eligible for subsidies in Okinawa and the Philippines. Microsoft 365, SharePoint, Human Resources on the Philippine side will develop human resources through OJT using our current e-learning materials and SharePoint sites, as well as the development of BPO business human resources. Provision and dissemination of Microsoft 365 know-how. Microsoft 365, SharePoint, has penetrated major companies as part of work style reform, but there are few SharePoint experts. The current situation is that every organization is looking for companies and human resources that possess know-how. However, the reality is that there are many organizations that promote projects without finding people who are familiar with SharePoint, and end up failing. Focusing on this, we will promote business expansion by utilizing the knowledge of Microsoft 365 and the information and know-how of user support in the field as outsourced work by utilizing the Japanese version of e-learning information and resources for customization. In addition, by making it an English version and sending Philippines, we will also involve companies such as Philippines and Singapore, and expand to global companies in Japan, Philippines, and Singapore. We will also utilize the know-how of Microsoft 365, SharePoint, from the recent work style to develop BPO business by telework in Okinawa and the Philippines. Inevitably, the person in charge will be bilingual, but in the English-speaking world, we will train Filipino SharePoint experts, subject matter experts, specialists, to respond. Microsoft's flagship product is now used by 500 million companies around the world, providing e-learning materials, customizing assets, know-how, and staff training. We will develop and respond to human resources through our own e-learning materials and on-the-job training in SharePoint. AFU 1 N5 30000 8 25000 7 100. Support for obtaining work visas, invitation support and mediation, software development staff, VFX designer, cooking and kitchen guest services staff, food manufacturing staff, tavern and convenience store staff, hotel staff, foreign employee staff, building management and maintenance staff. Jobs for foreigners in Okinawa. Inviting Filipino human resources, work visas, and dispatching them to Okinawa is a comprehensive business that includes promoter work and dispatch services for the Philippines Okinawa. This is a direct operation, and the commission of the promoter in the Philippines and the commission of the dispatch agency in Okinawa are all company revenues. Promoters in the Philippines take the first 10,150,000 pesos, 25,380,000 yen, per person from those who want to work abroad, and if Filipinos work abroad, they need to prepare money in advance, which is a barrier for those who want to work abroad. As a company business, it is easy to acquire human resources by deducting salaries in consideration of travel expenses to Okinawa, and food expenses for 2 months until you receive your salary. The basic work visa is for 1 year, but it can be repeated with a continuous extension. Fee: we plan to deduct about 25% every month. Most of them work in Japan for more than 10 years, save money and return to Japan, or get married and live permanently. Unlike Japan dispatch agencies, the retention rate is good. This flow cannot be done unless you are familiar with the situation in the Philippines, so it is a gap business that most people in Japan have not yet done. It's similar to the old Filipino pub invitations, which are only for 6 months, but the work visas for decent jobs are handled by major companies with the intervention of overseas promoters and temp agencies. We recruit IT personnel from Vietnam in the IT field, Indonesia, Vietnam and Thailand in the nursing care field, and the Philippines and Vietnam from major companies Fujitsu and Toshiba. 10 years from now, there is expected to be a shortage of more than 800,000 IT human resources in Japan, and the share of the utilization of foreign human resources is expanding and developing. There are still many job openings, and you can check them at the following URL. Indeed. Guidable jobs. MyNavi Global. This is an example of foreign human resources who want to work at OWF. Establishment of a base for disseminating English education in Okinawa. Nowadays, it is fashionable to take English conversation classes using the internet and study abroad for a short period of time, and this is popular in the Philippines. Since there are many Filipinos who can have native conversations, English conversation training and correspondence education online and Zoom, moving to the Philippines. We aim to open correspondence classes at the Okinawa base by people who have already experienced studying English before studying abroad. The people who participate in and sponsor the OHANA Field Project are all N4 level or higher in Japanese and native English speakers, so we need to prepare for the start of the course. As soon as it is ready, I think we will be able to start with the announcement of the start of the class. In addition, since these people are native speakers of Tagalog, they will also be instructors at the N5 level of members who come to Japan by OFW, and those who live in Japan and want to change jobs. I am wondering if you can also be an N4 level instructor for people. Yasuga Gakuin University International High School in Okinawa is a correspondence school in Okinawa. And since students usually communicate with each other via line, they can also be English helpers. I think that human resources can also be introduced. Filipinos build houses designed by Japan. You can create an image using inexpensive house design software in Japan, or use the design of a first-class architect to create a general Filipino style only for Filipinos. We will build a house under the supervision of a first-class architect in Japan and a designer in the Philippines using a construction method, and plan to launch a cottage construction shop based on their achievements. Work on the design that I designed started in November 2023, and it is under construction with only my family, relatives, designers, and helpers. All construction procedures and architectural know-how will be absorbed by family members and relatives. We will open a branch of OHANA Field in the Metro Manila area to continue to promote this project. Okinawan and Taiwanese cuisine B-class gourmet food stalls in the Philippines. Compressed rice cracker shop, located on Inashima Shrine Street, teppanyaki, yakisoba/okonomiyaki, takoyaki. Yatai ramen, substituted for ramen made in Japan hot pot, Okinawan izakaya, and Taiwanese street food stalls B-grade gourmet food will be sold at a stall in the Philippines. We will consider the resort areas where there are many people, Puerto Galera, El Nido, Bataan, and Tagaytay. This place also catches octopus, shrimp, and squid, and uses the developed sorts that can be exported to lead to business. We will also develop our business with minimal risk by utilizing reliable acquaintances and relatives. The unit price sold at Taiwanese food stalls is also what? The reality is that it is so expensive that you think, but even if you take 50% profit in the Philippines, you can do it at a low price, and you can create an open-air tavern-like place where everyone can gather, and provide jobs for your family, relatives, and acquaintances. I also thought about creating my own stall, and if I remodeled a used jeepney and made it into a kitchen car, there were about 4 types. Since it can be incorporated into one unit, it is possible to sell it on the move, and relatively it can be realized at a low cost. There are Japan restaurants and ramen restaurants in the Philippines, but there are no Okinawan restaurants. So Japan people and relatively we are also considering the development of Okinawan restaurants in areas where rich people gather. Rather than the Japan of a weak yen with high food costs, labor costs, and store maintenance costs, the Philippines has 1/10 of its GDP. Even if you offer a low price, it will lead to a high profit margin. Providing an environment where people can provide nursing care in a comfortable manner. Utilizing his track record of working at the nursing home Tsukui, he is a starter for a base that will be expanded to the Philippines in the near future. We will develop human resources. We also prepare an environment where cheap nursing care is possible, and even if you live on a cheap pension, you can move to a tropical land where Japanese is spoken. If you are currently running a nursing home in the Philippines, you can run an elegant rental house and party room. Those who have completed nursing care training in Japan, and those who have received the cooperation of local nurses and doctors. We will provide an environment where people can provide suitable nursing care. In addition, based on the care of the elderly living alone and the elderly, which is now a problem in Japan, people are moving even with cheap pensions. We will expand and penetrate the habitat that can be done. Even if you look at the elderly people around you, the facility will handle all the meal preparation, cooking, laundry, medical examinations, etc. It can be assumed that people who wish to move to the home where nurses and doctors also live will gather immediately. Nursing care in the Philippines, which is the cheapest place in the world to relocate, is a rapidly expanding business. Naturally, the nursing care staff are people who can speak Japanese, English, and Tagalog, and they are also trained in the Philippines. It will be finished or will be handled by those who are aiming for it. Those who worked here can also work in OFW with specific skills in Japan. With this employment record, OHANA Field gives you all covered. Accessories: raw shell harvesting and export. In Ishigaki Island, Okinawa Prefecture, we found a collection destination for aluminous shellfish for accessory processing and dealerships, and processed accessories according to the requests of the collection and sales destination. We will also export it to Okinawa as a product, door to door. The plan is to deal with the family relatives, the family of the wife's wife of the brother-in-law, who are less risky, and to connect it to the family's income. The island where the sample is planned to be collected is in the countryside, so the land is cheap, about 100 pesos per square meter, and the building to be processed can be constructed cheaply by OHANA contractor. You can also start collecting shellfish as soon as you purchase a used bunker boat. The mussel is a type of sea snail classified in the Paleogastropodidae family and is a large snail that lives in the coral reef areas of the Indo-Pacific Ocean. There is mother of pearl on the back of the heavy shell, and it has been used as a material for mother of pearl work since ancient times, and from its name, it is sometimes thought that it glows at night. The shellfish itself does not emit light. It is also used for food in the production area. As a prolific production area, the Philippine Islands, the Andaman Islands, the Nicobar Islands, etc. In Japan, the Amami Islands, Okinawa Islands, and Sakishima Islands are known as production areas. The habitat is relatively shallow channels and rock hollows with a depth of 30 m or more, and does not inhabit sandy and muddy seabeds. Basically, it is nocturnal and it is impossible to distinguish between males and females from the appearance due to seaweed and other food, but breeding activity is in winter. It is seen all year round, except for high tides, and occurs before and after high tides. Juvenile mussels grow to about 70 mm in 3 years. Now, utilization by providing a share car and a rental car. We are also considering a business that provides old foreign cars, which are rarely driven in Okinawa, as shared cars and rental cars for couples and young people who come to resort areas, and uses old cars that have flaws but can be rented cheaply without any problems in driving. This is a commercial car of the Akamine Rental Car Shop, which is 1 station away by monorail from the airport, and aims to differentiate it from other rental car shops. In Okinawa, there are already people who are doing share cars on an individual basis. But we are considering a service that adds insurance, which is an advantage of rental car shops. In Okinawa, there are already people who are doing share cars on an individual basis, but the rental car shop we are considering a service that adds insurance enrollment. For the time being, I have my own foreign car, Mercedes SLK 200, red, with 2-seater open, 1 box. The Mercedes A170, black, is used as a utilization car. And if the response is good, it is a 4-seater system. Open cars are available for less than 250,000 yen, and 2-seater open cars are available for less than 400,000 yen. Expand your business. The price range is as low as 10,000 yen, 20,000 yen per day, and it is a selling point that is not inferior to a rental car in Okinawa. We would like to implement it. I think that a two-seater open car that you can't usually ride will be attractive to young couples. Inquiries about sponsorship and support before moving to Okinawa, consultation. Before moving to Okinawa, I told the chairman and president of the company I used to work with, I'm going to do a limited liability company that will be an epilogue in Okinawa. We will go around greeting people and ask if they can sponsor or support us in any way. The company that goes around greeting people is an IT-related development organization that has been dealing with system-related matters for many years, but the new field is since it is unexplored. Please check if you are interested in entering the work related to Microsoft 365, a Microsoft strategic product, and if you receive a positive opinion, please sponsor and support us by providing human resources and know-how. The companies that go around greeting are Estrella, Success IT Consulting, Unisoft, System Argo, Nissan Computer, etc. OHANA File does not acquire the temporary staffing business. In addition, if you introduce companies that can sponsor and support you to companies that are looking for human resources at companies that you have dealt with so far, it will lead to the business development of OHANA Filed in the Tokyo area. Provision and dissemination of Microsoft 365 know-how, promotion of cloud computing through the use of Microsoft 365. Support for companies migrating to Microsoft 365 through work style reform, BPO business through telework in Okinawa and the Philippines, and provision of excellent human resources in the Philippines. We will also approach the big people who have previously dealt with Microsoft 365, SharePoint, tell them that we can respond at a low cost with C2C, and ask if they can request work, sponsor, or support. In addition, I have announced to various staffing agencies where I have been introduced to my work, and Microsoft 365, SharePoint, can be handled by C2C. We will ask if there is a telework project. Announcements are made to health basis, information systems engineering, tender, etc. Since it is a new idea entrepreneurship that focuses on the revitalization of the IT industry and the solution of the shortage of human resources, we will try to sponsor and support through funding, which is popular these days. Although I am an incumbent human resource of Microsoft 365, SharePoint, there are people who will finish the project with other users next year. So if you announce the plan of OHANA Filed and make a consignment contract with people who agree with you, you will be able to expand the number of people who can respond other than yourself. We are currently requesting the provision of the latest version of the resume and resume, but we are working with a foreign affiliated company, and the single fee is expensive. Progress report as of December 16 of OHANA Field preparations for starting a business. Creation of a video reading the Okinawa Philippines Business OHANA Business Concept Proposal. Explanation of what OHANA supports. Supporting cloud computing by utilizing Microsoft 365. Done migrating tables from the RDBMS used in the current legacy system to SharePoint for the KJS development team. Access verification and reporting of results on existing legacy systems via ODBC and Access.mdb. Create a form with an image similar to an existing system in Power Apps with a modern UI. Provision and dissemination of Microsoft 365 know-how. Done building an e-learning site for KJS and OHANA. Provision of excellent human resources by OFW. Done recruitment of human resources who wish to work in Japan in the first stage, collection of biodata. Establishment of a base for disseminating English education in Okinawa. Done implementation of online English conversation junior high school level. Jackie's daughter, who won the runner-up in the national speech contest, and her daughter, who is in the third year of junior high school, started English conversation lessons. Next year, we plan to start N5 level Japanese lessons for OFW members in the Philippines. Filipinos build houses designed by Japan in the Philippines. Done construction will begin in November 2023 at Sto. Tomas. By June 2024, the skeleton house will be completed. Compressed rice cracker shop, Okinawan and Taiwanese cuisine, B-grade gourmet food stall development in the Philippines. At the end of the year, he plans to visit the Philippines to convey his concept plan. Providing an environment where people can provide nursing care in a comfortable manner. Market development utilizing the skills of 2 members living in Japan, who have completed nursing care training and have work experience. Accessories, raw shell harvesting and export. At the end of the year, we plan to go to the Philippines to convey the concept plan, utilization by providing share cars and rental cars. Done. Obtain information on those who operate a share car individually, Jackie. Next year, move to Okinawa and try and go. Confirmation of the new technology field Microsoft 365, SharePoint, to existing organizations. Sponsorship and support for Microsoft's strategic product Microsoft 365, SharePoint, in the new technology field. Consultation on telework projects that can be handled by C2C.